visionary leaders create legacy of impact and income through the channel of entrepreneurship and do more good in the world. You will get access to all our amazing speakers today and walk away with great wisdom and inspiration so that you can level up yourself and your business to the next level. All right, everyone, welcome back to another summit. I'm so excited to be back with another amazing virtual event here at the Life School. And I have put together a lot of amazing panel speakers that will share with you today a lot of inspiration and insight around the work they do, but most importantly, around wisdom and information that I know will serve you at the highest level so that you can stay purposeful what you're building as far as your business and also the desires that you have for a fulfilling life. Here at the Life School, we help visionary leaders grow legacy purpose-driven companies through branding, marketing, sales, systems, and team so they can really make a difference in the world, align their purpose with their profit, and of course, do more good in the world. I really believe that purpose-driven entrepreneurs everywhere, conscious leaders, are the ones that are going to change the world. And we're the ones that are going to help other people and give a hand to one another so that we rise more people in this movement. I want to thank all my speakers for joining me today. And before I invite them to our virtual stage, I would love to remind you of our vision here at the Life School, which is again to empower CEOs to realize their life's purpose through legacy entrepreneurship. Our mission is to become the most influential global community in purposeful entrepreneurship. And then, of course, our values are connection, community, service, growth, freedom, and contribution. So thank you again for those of you that are joining. If you are watching this summit past our live feature here today, feel free to leave comments. I would love to hear your insight on all the amazing information that the speakers will share with us today. As that way, I know how to also personalize the information and also how to serve you at the highest level. So, without further ado, I'm going to be bringing to our beautiful stage all the amazing speakers joining us today. And I'm going to start with Roberta Campbell. Roberta is based out of Ohio. So, Roberta, thank you so much for coming on. And I'm looking forward to hearing a little bit more regarding all the amazing work you do. And also, how did you get into the work that you actually feel passionate about sharing with us today? Roberta, I cannot hear you.
Okay. Sorry about that. I had to move the chat over. Hi, thank you so much for having me. Well, I tell you, um, after a lot of struggle led me to where I'm at today. You know, going through my life, not knowing where I was headed. I I was a follower. I became a chameleon. I had no idea who I was. I felt like I lived in a fog most of my life. And, I went through a horrible divorce and struggled for many years as a single mom, financially, everything, you name it. And so I finally became an empty nester, okay, and started my life over. And 1 month later, after I had sold my house and moved into this lovely apartment, my 22-year-old daughter was hit by a car while crossing the street in a crosswalk. And so it turned our lives upside down. She had to move back in with me. I became her caretaker, and it was bad. For years, we struggled. I struggled trying to take care of her and continue with my life and trying to work as a hairstylist, working very, very hard all of my life. That's what I knew. And, you know, after a few years, I finally hit rock bottom. I said, I can't do this. I'm done. I spent all of my money on her recovery, and I will never forget this day. I begged God for help, and I said, I can't do this anymore. And I will tell you, one thing at a time began to change in my life. And it was like I it was like I became a different person, and I started thinking about who I was and what do I want. And I got to tell you, it was this special pen. I know it sounds crazy, but I have this pen that's like magical, and everything that I would write down came. It came into my life. I became an author. I wrote a book. It's called She Looks Fine because my daughter suffered from a traumatic brain injury. And so her injuries are invisible. And then I was asked to co-author another book. And then I became a mentor and a life coach myself because I knew that my purpose was to help others that were struggling like me. I also became a keynote speaker and just had my second event just recently at one of the universities here near Cincinnati. And my daughter, I will tell you, you're probably wondering about her. She was, she is, she's still continuing to heal, but she was also a keynote speaker at the event where we talked about thank you, traumatic brain injuries. And so we know that's our purpose. We could have stayed at that really low place for such a long time, but by the grace of God, we made changes. And this year, I also became an international bestseller on Amazon. And so my life completely changed. And so I know that this is my purpose here. I know I'm just beginning. And I also know, because I didn't begin until 50 or over 50, that it's never too late to make changes in your life.
Yeah,
Here
absolutely.
others. And I want other people to know too, you can get one of these pens. I have some of these pens, and but they're limited. I only have so many, and everything you write will come to you. All right? By following a certain my guidance, I can help you bring anything into your life that you want.
Thank you so much, Roberta. Wow, how many blessings after struggle, right? I mean, your story is so inspirational, and it's grace, right, of what really happened to you after, and the story that you shared personally, even with what happened to your daughter, and what she's also doing today. So there's always a reason why struggle happens in our lives for sure. So I am so inspired that you have taken this and you made this now the mission of your life to help so many other people that might be going through something similar. Roberta, if you can share with us, by the way, that is a special pen. I mean, is that so? What is the connection with the pen and the work you do? Tell me a little bit more information around how do you actually help your clients?
Yeah, so I I have I've watched. I'm a good observer. I'm a good follower, but I am a good leader too. And so I have been observing others. And what I've noticed is that, like for me, I was completely in the masculine energy for many years. All I knew was how to work really, really hard, and I didn't get anywhere. I mean, I struggled. So when I learned how to balance the feminine and the masculine energy, everything changed. Everything. And so I know now I take inspired action and I know how to find that. I also have learned through my mentors and how to um, how to use the universal laws. So there are very simple tricks and things that when you learn how to use these to your advantage, you work less, and you enjoy more of your life. There is no way that in 1 year I have brought all of this into my existence from having no college education. So I help others, people like me, whether it's single moms or empty nesters, women that are ready to live that, to find your authenticity. And that is through self love, and you will find your confidence and discover who you are and what your purpose here on this earth is, and that you can have anything you want in life, and that it is never too late. We should be living extraordinary lives.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Roberta. I so agree with the alignment of both energies, and we need both, and we have both. So, learning how to access both at certain times
Right.
only helps us stay purposeful and work smart and live smart, live on our terms, right? Create the life that we actually intentionally want to live. So, it's so, so purposeful. Thank you so much for everything you shared. I'm so glad that you are here. And I'm going to definitely come back to you at the end as well. And this way, I'm welcoming my next speaker onto the stage, Crystal Adair Benning. Crystal, welcome, and looking forward to hearing a little bit more regarding the work you also do in the world.
Oh, thank you so much. So, I actually knew my life's purpose, I think, at age 8 or 9. And unfortunately, I knew that I was meant to be a writer. I knew that I was meant to impact people with writing. But I grew up in a day and age where I was told writers were either broke, drunk, or in bars. And at 10, that did not seem like a plan for sustainable like life goals that I wanted. So I kind of fell into my career path and my purpose. I was gifted the opportunity to write my very first book when I was 14. It was published 2 weeks before I turned 16 and went immediately to the New York Times bestseller list. So I had my very first New York Times bestseller before I turned 16 years old as a ghostwriter. Um, and through a very long story that I'm going to make super short, I did not get paid for my work. And I thought, well, it can't possibly be my life's purpose if I'm not getting paid. The author I had written for tried to pay me in dog food. True story. Super fun. And I thought, well, there has to be something better. So I shelved my career. I was still working in the background. I was still writing books and helping other people write things, but I followed the money. So I left my purpose, I left the plan, and I followed the money, and I went into events. And going into events, it was something, it was like my zone of excellence, the thing that I was so good at that I never questioned if it was my purpose or not. I just kept doing it. And in doing it, highly stressful career, I actually found myself with terminal cancer, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And the third time, my oncologist looked at me and said, you need to quit running events. You're not meant to do this. Your body is literally breaking down and it's going to kill you. Are you sure you're on the right path? And that led me to a little bit of discovery and a little bit of questioning if I had been following my purpose at that point. So, fast forward, I meet and marry my husband in a month, whirlwind romance, by choice. And my husband, on our wedding day, actually said, you don't seem happy doing what you're doing. Are you sure it's right for you? And I went, you know what? I really hate it. And I've been thinking about leaving it for 10 years. And I keep hearing this as a common phrase, like, should I be here? So, on a leap of faith, a month after we got married, I quit my job. In the middle of a pandemic, I turned around and quit my 6-figure career and said, I'm not going to run events anymore. This doesn't feel like my purpose. And he, rightly so, asked, well, what is your purpose? And I said, I have no idea. So I did what every sane, rational human would do, and I took a walk in the forest. And I came back and said, I'm meant to send 7 emails. And I don't know how this relates to my purpose, but this is what I meant to do. And I sent those 7 emails saying, I've been a writer for as long as I can remember. It's the only thing I've ever wanted to do. And would you give me a shot and let me write some copy for you, or let me write a book for you? 6 of the 7 emails signed on immediately. And I started my full-blown career as a writer and as a ghostwriter. I now have 4 New York Times bestsellers under my belt as a ghostwriter, and I travel the world teaching and helping people heal by putting their words down onto paper. And that's how I found my purpose.
Wow. Well, that's so powerful, Crystal, and I think we all can relate to the word purpose. That's why I brought it up today as our theme because it's like, how do we know that we are, living our life's purpose? Like it's a buzzword, right? And it's being, a lot of people are intuitively in feeling this on the inside. I mean, that was my story many years ago. Before I ventured out as an entrepreneur, I would never think this would be my path, but there's that inner voice like telling you this is not right, and then you start seeing signs on your physical world, whether it's your physical health or other things really, not aligning on the outside. So I love that you actually listen to it and you're persistent with it, and you had that support along your journey so that you can get here and helping now other people ghostwrite their books and sharing their messages. What are some things that you could share with us, Crystal, around the work that you do with your clients that would help somebody that maybe feels that book writing might be something that they feel is part or connected to their purpose? It's how they're supposed to bring out their message to the world. Can you give us some insight around the work you do on the day to day that would help someone that is thinking about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work both as a copywriter and a ghostwriter. So I would say that if you feel called to write, there is no shortcut to writing. You just have to do it. You have to actually write. And writing every day builds that skill and that confidence. Very few of us, basically none of us, ever write, our first bestseller the first time out the gate. It takes that practice over time. But I can tell you, when you feel something and you feel like it's your purpose, it starts to feel easy and even joyful as you go through the process. You start to get into flow with it. Every time I have to write anything, I feel that angst, that anxiety of like, oh, I have to do this thing. Oh, I don't know if I can do it. But there's this joy in just purely going for it and just writing and trusting yourself fully to let it go. So if you feel like writing is your purpose or something you're supposed to do, hire a book coach, go talk to a writer. But the simplest start is to actually just do it. Grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, and start writing. And the way that I teach most people to start writing is to do it intuitively. So grab a pen and a piece of paper and write down the question, why can't I write a book? And without thinking about it too hard, just write whatever comes out of the pen, right? Quick, quick, quick. What comes out? And you're going to do the same question with, why can't I write a book? And then what should I write about, right? And you keep asking yourself these questions and you keep writing until you find that clarity. And that's how I started. That's how most of my clients start. And ultimately, you're going to get there. If it's your purpose, it'll happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like anything, if we want to improve a certain skill, whether it's speaking or writing, it's just do it. Just do it. Even when you have the fear or the writer's block or the speaker's block around, like, I don't know what I'm going to say or I don't know what I'm going to write, because the entire process of you just sitting there and letting your ideas and creativity flow, you'll start to get some stuff, and then you'll just build on that. And then you go back and you'll improve it, and then you start to shape your unique voice for sure, with your authentic message. So thank you so much, Crystal, for everything that you shared with us so far. And moving on to my next amazing speaker, Cindy Brockaway. Cindy, welcome. Thanks so much for being here.
Hey, thank you. I am excited to be here, really, with each of these amazing people. And I've already heard a couple of people speaking, and I'm thinking, wow, a lot of that ties right into my own background as a grannypreneur and someone who is multi-passionate. So I am just thankful to be here and to spend a little bit of time with you guys, all of these influential people. So I wanted to share just a little bit about myself. Over the past 35 years, I've dedicated my career outside of the entrepreneurial world into being an exceptional needs specialist. So I worked with the public school system, and I've worked with people with traumatic brain injuries. I've worked with people who enjoy writing. I work with people who are shy and introverted, and I've worked with people of a variety of different backgrounds. As you can imagine, 35 years working with children and their families who have special abilities that need to be explored and used to their best advantage. And it really was a fulfilling career, and I loved it. But then there's another facet of me that I started when I became a grannypreneur. So I did not start my life as an entrepreneur until I was 52 years old. So I don't know if you guys who are joining us right now waited that long to start in the a home business, but that was me. I had spent a lot of time in the with the public school system, and while it was fun and enjoyable, it really did not meet all the needs that I had for myself. So I began this journey of kind of working with some diverse businesses over time. And although my passion is working with young and older people, I am interested in helping people that are high achieving navigate the world just like I learned how to do, learning how to expand your vision at any age and at any ability level, because I feel like everyone can learn and everyone can move from where they are to where they need to be. So let me tell you, I am multi-passionate. So I started my Etsy shop. I have an Etsy shop I started in 2010, and it's like a retail and wholesale shop. And that was when I was 52. So that was my first endeavor. And then I invested in some vacation property, and that was when I was 54. And we kept it rented, and we were making money for about 10 years until we finally sold it in 2020. And I might say we made an impressive profit with that. So that was pretty cool, because when we purchased it, it was a repo, and it needed a lot of help. But we were able to give it a new life and move forward that way. And then after that, I launched my coaching career, my online coaching career. And I didn't start that till I was 60. And in the meantime, I also participated in, and I still do, some fun and interesting network marketing adventures, essential oils, affiliated marketing, and also that clean crafted wine. That's one of my favorite. So I am kind of an example of how you can embrace your age and changes in your life, and you can run with it. So that's about 13 years, I'd say, from when I shifted my thinking from being a career educator into being a more diverse, passionate grannypreneur. So that's about 13 years of that. And then within those years, I have to be honest with you, I have seen people struggle with how to craft like an elevated personal life while they're still trying to maintain a viable business at home. And it's not always manageable and sustainable. And when you watch people, you sort of figure out that they either work 24/7 trying to make sales, and they don't really have a cohesive strategy, so they end up burning out quickly, giving up, becoming disillusioned, or they kind of stick with it, but they really have no idea how to, become to make money with it. And so my mission really is to help reduce all of that angst that really is causing sort of a massive epidemic of exhaustion in our field. in our communities, and help people learn to incorporate approach a realistic approach for them that can help prevent personal and career related burnout. So that's basically what I'm about in a nutshell.
Yeah, well, Cindy, you're such an inspirational story. It's never too late to start, and keeping yourself keep learning and growing through so many experiences that you share with us, so many ventures
Yeah.
in different fields and businesses as well. So, the thrive to live and to kind of enjoy our day to day, no matter what age. Age is just a number, right? It's really how you feel inside. So, I love that you actually have shared with us that mission, and your story is very, very inspirational, even when we connected together. So I'm glad that you shared it with us here as
Yeah.
well. Thank you so, so much for everything that you shared so far. All right, moving on to my next speaker, Sally Lott. Sally, thank you so much for coming on. We have met from another mutual community, so I am so glad to have you here and looking forward to learning a little bit more about you as well.
Well, thank you for having me on here. I'm enjoying all these stories. As another older person who started later in life, it's nice to see that I'm not the only one who's a little crazy. But we're talking about life's purpose, and it's interesting. I'm sitting here thinking, I grew up in a cult. And so I was never taught to have a life purpose. My life purpose was the world is going to end. So you don't need a life purpose. That was it. So, and it took me a long time after leaving to get out of that mindset, because I got married very young. I had my kids very young. I went to work and did all the things. And I ended up by around age 30 that I was so depressed and so anxiety ridden because I buried all these things. I couldn't even leave the house. And so that was when I started realizing, I'm not living my life. I'm living this life that somebody else told me I needed to live. And I didn't have a purpose. And I didn't. Well, I had my children. That was my purpose. I didn't want to ignore them. But I started writing as part of my therapy. Started at first, it was letters to people, and then it was starting to be creative, because I was always creative as a child, but that was quickly, we don't do that. You can't be creative unless it's cult oriented. So took me a few more years still to understand that I was a creative person, and all of these ways that I always felt like I was different from everyone else was my writer brain. When I'm with my writer friends, we're like the same people. It's hilarious. But it wasn't, I had jobs. I worked in the accounting industry. And then, I think it was last year, I decided I was done with working for someone else. I wanted to write full time, but I was not of the mindset yet that I could make money writing, because that's what we're told. Can't make money writing. Everybody who writes is poor. So I decided to start a business doing small business consulting, because that's what I knew. But it was just so hard. And it was more hard because it wasn't my passion. I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't loving it. I could help people, and I knew the things to do and knew the things to say. But my true passion was in the writing. So it was actually just one day on a networking call with somebody that she said to me, "Sally, you're not living your passion. What are you doing?" And in that split second, I decided that I can make money writing. And what I want to do is help other people write. Because I had so many people coming to me with their stories of overcoming. And I alluded to the beginning that I grew up in a cult, but I was also in a very abusive home. And my first husband was also very abusive. So I came from this very destructive background, and I flipped my life around. And I stopped letting everybody else make my choices, and I started making my own decisions. And I stopped being led by my problems and started living being guided by my dreams. And all of a sudden, when I made this decision, um, people started coming to me who I was talking to, and they would say, I read your book. I kind of left that out. I wrote a book. My book is called The Truth is a Lie, and it's a fictionalized story of my life uh, growing up in this cult. And that brought a lot of people to me who said, I want to tell my story, but I couldn't tell it. I didn't know how to tell it without scaring myself, without fear, without, lawsuits and things like that. So I have this great ability to help people tell their story and create it in a way that they could share it with others, but it's not harmful to themselves. I don't know if that makes sense. But I feel such a passion for writing that I can't not do it. I really resonated with what Crystal was saying. I think we're very like-minded. And so that is what I'm doing now. I'm coaxing stories out of other people. I'm helping them to find their passions. I'm helping them to see their paths and their journeys and leave all that stuff in the past and move forward. I kind of want that magic pen too. So my journey's been long to get here. I had a lot of missteps along the way, but once I discovered what my passion was and I actually followed it and listened to it, my path became much easier, much narrower, much more guided. And then all of these things that I have been wishing for and thinking about are coming to fruition now. I'm starting to see them. So that's about it.
Yeah, well, it just reminded me how what you shared and what Crystal shared, and also a lot of my personal story as well of how sometimes, just sharing our story can help us heal so many of our own things or our own judgments about what is it that we should actually be doing, with our life and the work that we choose to do. And through that channel of just writing, you're helping people, sounds like, even through them sharing their story and guiding and facilitating that process of figuring out, like, an aha moment around, when they're writing about their story, what is it that they're called to actually focus on or bring out there in the world. So it is such a beautiful creative process. And with that, it sounds like you're also helping people discover that. And you're a great role model for listening. So thank you so much for sharing that, Sally.
You're welcome.
It's such a beautiful story as well. All right, moving on to my next speaker, Rory Lemon. Rory, welcome.
Hi there. Thanks, Elona, and everyone, wonderful stories. And am I coming through okay? Is it? I look a little bit like there's delay coming through. Is it all right? Yeah. I feel like I'm in the picture in Back to the Future where they show up the sign and the person's fading and someone has to go into the future to or the past to save someone so that they don't disappear. So yeah, that's what yeah I help neurodiverse creatives because I am a neurodiverse creative. Basically, that's what I love to help people with, understanding their creativity and where it's maybe aimless or dysfunctional creativity where they didn't realize they're creating that loop around. And I learned my own dysfunctional loop through the grades at school, telling me that I wasn't so great at English language, which was my first language. So I was like, okay, I'm not a verbal communicator. I'm much more of an artist kind of person and don't necessarily know how to talk so well, and stayed quiet in group conversations and was frustrated at the system, and not realizing wanting to change it, but having great ideas around how to change it, but not knowing how to communicate those ideas. So I slowly went into mental exhaustion and almost mental illness. I had a period of psychosis in my early 20s, and I was recovered through reflexology for 14 weeks, from psychosis back in the boat, functioning again, and actually pretty much feeling where I was before, normal, but not realizing I still had that creative, dysfunctional or creative, aimless creativity. I was very good at listening to music, and music was my safe space, and I was a musician, but I didn't know how to instigate my own, let's say, my ideas and my own business. I worked for other people. I became a massage therapist because I wanted to help people with the body into the mind, and I didn't realize. I kept going until I wanted to I became an osteopath as well, so learn more about that process. And then the osteopathy really helped me to then start stepping into a different identity. And then I realized where coaching could help that process even further. I was somatically coached. I've done multiple programs on how to or not how to, but step into my vision, leadership, hardcore leadership training, mental fitness trainings, all this stuff and learning about story creation, and brilliant work to help others with to manifest spelling their lives out into the world.
Yeah.
And so basically that's what I love to help with.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. And so, Rory, based on the work you do with your clients, how do you help someone channel their creativity? What is some things that you could share with us that could help someone that might be listening?
Yeah. So first of all, know that that creativity is happening. So it's a choice. And when we suddenly have awareness brings choice. So I like to say, know your ABCs, and know your DSDs as well. So do something different if you notice that pattern. Great advice from other mentors that I've had as well. So and really stopping and slowing down. If the mind is going fast, slow down. If the mind is too slow and underwhelmed by things, where's the vision of where you see yourself, and maybe has that creativity gone off somewhere and been lost? Was it became a block and then gone with life, or maybe just trying to do that creativity but not necessarily having the motivation, the bigger vision? I think definitely vision, mindfulness, and accountability in coaching, of course. Otherwise,
Yeah.
we'll just potentially just keep going around again,
Absolutely. Definitely great principles. Thank you so much for your insight. Thank you so much for sharing those with us as well. And I'll come back to you at the end as well. Awesome. Well, my next two speakers are going to be Leslie Godet and Trisha Perito. So Leslie, looking forward to hearing from you next. Introduce yourself, please. Tell us a little bit about the work you do and how did you end up doing what you're doing?
Yeah, thank you so much. And all of the panelists have been great so far. I've really enjoyed listening to your stories. I feel like our stories are just little glimpses that we can share with the world that people can see like who we are while we're sharing them here and what got us to the work we're doing. So for me, I have been in law just a little over 4 decades. I recently celebrated my 60th birthday this past February. And like a lot of the panelists here, I started a little bit later in life, to find my purpose, if you will, my passion. I was passionate, of course, being in law for as long as I was full time. But at some point, 6 years ago, it started. 6 years ago, when it really started to hit me that I couldn't do this anymore at the pace that I was going, because I was working a lot of long hours, and I felt like my life was draining away from me. I felt like my life revolved around work, and that I didn't have a life. I was married. I didn't have a relationship really with my husband, and we didn't have like a social life, and so things had to change. I started feeling like something was off. One day I turned to my husband and I said, if we don't make some changes, I feel like I'm not going to be here next year to tell you about how I'm feeling, because I really felt that I was headed for a heart attack based on the life I was living. And so I started looking outside to figure out, okay, what can I do that's different? And we decided, like, we were looking around and we started planning. We were living in California at the time, and we decided we were going to move to Las Vegas. And so just under a year later, we ended up in Las Vegas in March, and we found a place to live. I took some time off of work. We found a place to live. We got set up, and I went back to work the following Monday and gave them 2 weeks notice. So I had no safety net. I didn't know what was going to happen, if they were going to accept what I was going to propose to them. But I had faith that no matter what, I would figure it out. We would figure it out together, because we've been together for a very long time. And so I proceeded to work with the law firm that I was working for, and I went around to all the key players in the firm, and I told them what my plan was, and I felt like I could support them online. And we came up with a position for me based on what I told them I could do. And I've been supporting them. That was my first time stepping into entrepreneurship, and I've been supporting them in this role for over 5 years now. And so I was able to do that. And what that did was it allowed me to take back a very valuable commodity, which is my time, because I felt my time was being robbed. And in that time of that new amount of time for myself, I went through a journey of self-discovery. I learned how to love myself. In the process, I became a self-care. Well, I wasn't exactly a self-care coach at the time, but I became a life coach to help other women process their emotions, their limiting beliefs. And then I segued into self-care, because I know how important self-care truly is in all aspects. It includes mind, body, soul. I think it encompasses the whole thing, which is why I today am a self-care coach. I work with female entrepreneurs who are leading small teams. I help them to embrace self-care essentials to support them so that they can avoid burnout, sustain motivation, and thrive together professionally, but also personally, because I think that when you have that wellness within culture, you feel good, but then you also know that they support you outside of the office, where it's important that you have family time. That family really does matter. And I think that some of that has been lost today. You know, a lot of people are working longer, harder hours, but I've noticed that the quality of life isn't there. You know, they're working so hard. A lot of women I know that I've talked to, especially in the past few months, have told me their burnout stories. And so burnout is very important to me. It's one of the things that I help with. I love to be able to support women, to show them that there is a better way to showing up daily, so that they support themselves, so that they don't have to do all the things all at once, and so that they can have quality of life. Because you know, we don't get into business to work harder. We get into business to have quality of life and to be able to do more. And so I love what I do, and it's fulfilling work.
Yeah, absolutely. And the freedom we all look for. I love your niche, by the way, because yeah, when you have other people, right, that you're working for or you're working with, you get to create that impact. So you becoming that role model of self-care will absolutely transfer over to the people that are working with you as well. So great work out there. And thank you so much for sharing what you just did, Leslie.
You're welcome.
All right, Trisha Perito. I haven't seen you, Trisha, in a while, so thank you so much for coming on. I still support the mission and the work that you do, so looking forward to having you share with us.
It is definitely a blessing and a gift to be here with all of you today. So many of your stories resonate with me in a lot of different ways. We don't have that much time, so. But you know, with that said, my name is Trisha Perito. I'm an international mental health professional and a master addiction specialist. And that's just to say I have a lot of acronyms that flow behind my name, which is all besides the point. You know, I know if we stick with our purpose for being here right now, I know that I am living my purpose. And I know that it took me so long to get here for a reason, because I had to get to a specific space in my journey. My story starts at the age of 4, and actually starts way before that even, but we won't go that far. But between the ages of 4 and 27, you know, I had to experience a lot of things. I experienced numerous sexual assaults, domestic violence, emotional abuse, emotional neglect, I had to face eating disorders, body dysmorphia, alcohol dependence, perfectionism, people pleasing, um, and anxiety that became also benzodiazepine or Xanax dependent. And I had to recover from, a child, surviving from AML, leukemia, and just a lot of things, right? Like, so there was a lot of senseless death in my life. There was a lot of near death experiences of my own. And so my recovery journey started at the age of 27. And in that journey, and how I can reflect back on it now, because I didn't technically get sober until, I don't know, about 10 and a half years ago. But that recovery journey really started at 27 when I, overcame anorexia and really started to work on my attachment to compensatory measures, and learning how to look in the mirror and learning how to live with body dysmorphia. Because, eating disorders, again, it's a whole different ball of wax, because you can't just put down the food, right? Like, I could put down the alcohol, I could put down the benzodiazepines, but food and nutrition is extremely important. Anyway, when I got into a traditional treatment space, is when it really highlighted or became illuminated for me that our standardized treatment modalities and methods don't necessarily meet the needs of everybody. There's not a space for everybody, lower severities, but also those higher severities. And so it really dug in and created and cultivated 5 signature programs that actually allow me the capacity to actually teach the practical application of the psychological skill sets, tools, tactics, methods, modalities, whatever that we need in our life to have the level of emotional intelligence, right? Distress tolerance, impulse control, emotion regulation, et cetera, in life, so that we can apply it in a true fashion. And also it highlighted and illuminated for me, like, what a true life balance is. What does that really look like, and what are our needs? And there's 14 categories that really need to be paid attention to. And the struggle that a lot of people in recovery have is, how do I stay focused in my recovery journey when I can't even earn money, right? Like, I'm not making money, or I'm not making enough money. And so there's just real life stressors. So, I've created a space that is full and complete, that can, meet people where they are, and help them, even when that's connecting people with other people. I believe that collaboration over competition, and affiliate marketing and affiliate supporting of one another is a way we can benefit our clients by making those connections and building a team that has somebody in there that specializes, right? We have to stay in our scopes of practice and where our specialties lie. So, like, guiding people to living for themselves first, and having that ability to do that without feeling guilty, selfish, punished, restricted. Like, it's a true gift, and it's been a long journey for myself, and it's everything that I teach is the way that I eat, sleep, breathe, and conduct my own personal life, but also my professional life, and everybody that I teach, train, and mentor along the way. Because I'm also an instructor for an accredited organization, because I believe strongly and passionately about the professionalism of the coaching industry. We have to up our game. We can't just say, hey, I put together a really great life. And I'm not saying we need to go get 5.5 years of education, but we've got to up our game, and we've got to be trained in the niche that we want to be serving.
Well, Trisha, I know that your body of work, I know that firsthand from our connection, is amazing, and all the tools that you have, and the professionalism that you bring for your clients and your practice, and the passion, of course, is immensible. So you're creating such an amazing impact. So I'm so glad that you're able to come today and share that with more people, because more people need to hear that. We all know people that might be needing the support that you're able to provide. So thank you so much again for what you shared. And I actually want to thank all my amazing speakers. We've reached the end of our event today. And as a final note, I would love to go around and ask my speakers the one thing that they feel or they could share with you, so that how do they know if they're living their life's purpose? So if you can answer this with your gut, just one advice or one thing that comes up for you, and also where is it that people can continue the conversation with you. So we'll start back with Roberta.
Yeah, thank you. So when you find what you truly love and it feels effortless, it doesn't feel like work at all, that's when you know what your true purpose is. And so you can find me. Um, I would love for you guys, even if you want to write down my number, my phone number. I am willing to put that out for anybody because I want you to message me, especially if you want one of these pens. Okay. So my number is 513-226-5892. You can also reach me on Facebook, Roberta Campbell. I'm on Instagram, She Looks Fine Official, and through my website, shelooksfineofficial.com as well. Yeah, and so I think it's important to start with when you're young, and I really also connect with the young, like the 20-year-olds before they start a family, and those are the ones that I want to reach as well. So reach out to me.
Beautiful. Thanks so much, Crystal.
Hey, I think that when you find your purpose, like our other speakers have said, it will feel easy. But I think it's important to try on different things. So if you're not sure, try on all the hats. Pretend that you are, just get in the tickle trunk, try on different things until you figure out what feels good to you. The easiest way to reach me, wordmagiccopywriting.com or at wordmagiccopywriting. Anywhere on the internet, you will find me. I would love to have a chat with you. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you. Cindy?
Had to unmute. Okay. It has been great listening to everybody. And I just wanted to say that for me, I think that having your true purpose is living in your true purpose is when you are open to exploring things, exercises, not that are time management for decision making, that you're able to uncover those hidden pockets of time where you can support yourself in addition to those that you impact on a daily basis. And when you're able to harness the power of boundaries, decision making, and goal setting. And so I do have a systematic support system that I can share with people. And I would say probably the best way to find me is on Facebook. I'm there consistently. I have an active Facebook community called Essentials for Peace and Balance. It's for personal and professional expansion. And I'm Cindy Cooley Brockway on Facebook.
Thank you so much, Cindy. Sally?
Well, how do I sum that up after those three? Because I agree with them completely that you, when it's easy for you. However, life is not always easy. So I want to reiterate that sometimes it can be a little rocky. But keeping your focus on what feels right to you, you will know if it fits, that you can just go right down that path, and be open to other possibilities because sometimes our paths change, right? So you can find me super easy. My philosophy is keep it simple, Sally. My website, sallylots.com. I'm on LinkedIn. It's my name. I'm on Instagram as well. Also my name. Easy to find. And I have free consultations for people if they want to talk about their project, their book. If they don't know what coaching is, I explain to them what coaching is. And I have a free download too that helps you get started with writing. that's on my website. So super easy.
Yeah, love it. Thank you so much, Sally. Rory?
Thanks for sharing, everyone. I would say, yeah, all of the above, or all of the across. The one thing that I would potentially add to that um, is that is that what it feels like. Listen to what it feels like. If it feels like you are light, and it might be a number of things that top you up throughout your week that aren't necessarily the thing you have to do for a business or anything, just doing the things that you love. And there might be a 3 or 4 of those things, making sure you're doing a little bit of all of those or a lot of those. And then the challenges, because the challenges basically come in and then you can surf them. And then once you're doing that, you can then start sailing the challenges and going in the right direction. And the only other thing I would say is that the source of happiness, I call it, is that if you've got good information or connections coming into you, what are you doing with that information, and what are you putting out to the world? So making sure you've got all 3 of those things in your life. You've got an input, a good input of what you're doing with it, and a good output. And I am found on the internet, and it's Rory at Rory Lemonade, AID, as in to help. And I'm on the channel, so just message me or find me somehow.
Thanks so much, Rory. Leslie?
Yeah, I loved everything that everyone shared today. I would say to add to that is to do it for you. I know a lot of people will have a dream for you, but make sure that it aligns with what you truly want. Sometimes people will tell you that you should be doing something and it's not really truly what you want. And what you do want, they won't support you. So if they don't support you, find people in your community that do, because there will always be someone out there that will support you. And the last part of that is make sure you take care of yourself, because to live our dream, we have to take care of ourselves the very best that we can, because when we do that, we get the best of us. And so does everything in our life that we do, and everyone in our life that we are surrounding ourselves with. So that's what I would add to it.
Beautiful message. Trisha?
Yes, I would say that, I heard, right? I heard in there that it's not always easy, and you're right, it's not always easy. It's not always, you know, a breath of fresh air. But when the work that you're doing, that it's your life's passion. When you feel full, true, genuine, authentic gratitude and blessing for what you provide and give out to the world and the people that you serve. It's not always easy. Nothing in life is, but when it fulfills your heart, your soul, your mind, and provides value to the beings, you're there. Easy to get me. I'm not going to give you a laundry list of things, because you can find it at my website, which is Turning Leaves, LEAVES, recovery.com. So all of my contact, scheduling appointments, everything's right at the top in the banner. You don't even have to look at the rest of the website. Boom, just right there, text message, whatever.
All right. Well, thank you so much to all my amazing speakers. By the way, you don't have to hunt for all the links. They will all be tagged. They will all be tagged inside our social media. So, and the speakers definitely encourage that you connect with one another, because nurturing relationships is such a beautiful thing. So I want to thank you for your time and the message that you shared with us in this event. If you are looking to join us as a speaker, we would love to bring you on board and have you share your message as well with our audience. Thanks again for joining us. I will see you next time with another beautiful summit, beautiful event here from the Life School. Have a beautiful rest of your week, everybody. I want to share with you the 4 books that would change your life personally and professionally. So the first book is Connecting the Dots Backwards, one of the books I've written that will help you connect the dots between your past, your present, and your future life vision. You will find topics in there around marketing, sales, spirituality, relationships, all the areas that you need to be fulfilled as a human being. The second book that I've written, which is a journal, accompanies the Connecting with the Dots book. And this journal will help you apply the information that you learn in the book into a journal. It has self-guided questions that you can go through and into to get the clarity that you need to discover your values, your vision, and your mission. This is a journal attaching the book as well. And then Purpose Driven Entrepreneurship is my latest book, where I have included my legacy framework in building legacy businesses, everything from mindset, branding, marketing, sales, systems, and team. And I have connected all the dots between all those areas so that you have the fundamentals that you need to build a truly legacy empire. And then my latest creation is the Focus on Purpose Planner for increased productivity and efficiency, where I have included a framework around your productivity where you can plan ahead, work on purpose, and leave amazing impact on the planet with your work. You can find any of my books on the website below, elonaloparicoaching.com books. And definitely grab your copy. Let me know, leave me a review on Amazon, and let me know how this book has impacted you and changed your life.